Hey folks, how you doing today? Bob Vokes here from the Gilly Glue Bird. How you doing? We're talking hummingbird feeders today. The hummers are close by. We've been following and tracking them on a migration map that we have. We actually have it on our Facebook page. So if you look at the Gilly Glue Facebook page, you can find that migration map there for the hummingbirds. They're spotted in Kingston and in eastern Quebec in the most recent times. So the weather's starting to warm up. They're going to be here. There's no doubt about that. I want to talk hummingbird feeders because there's a variety of differences in the hummingbird feeders, as in a lot of other feeders, the quality of the product and the craftsmanship and the engineering of the product itself. So as an example, we're going to use this one here. It's a polycarbonate plastic. One of the big features about it is that the nectar line, when it's filled, is going to be right about there, and you'll notice that up to the top there's going to be a space about that much distance between the actual food port and the nectar inside the feeder. There's a purpose for that. The reason we want that separation is so that there's no expansion, and with the expansion and contraction of the nectar, that it spills out over the top. And the other feature that is very important here is that this raised food port, because that helps with that same feature. That eliminates the fact that hornets, earwigs, ants, all those kinds of things aren't going to actually taste the nectar that's inside the feeder. The other feature that this feeder has is that it has a built-in ant mode. So inside of here, you would fill that with water, and then when the ants come down, so let's say you have it on this window suction cup here, the ants would come down, the earwigs, that kind of stuff, go down and attempting to get to your nectar, and they can't, because they're going to end up in the water here as opposed to being in your feeder. Now the other side of that, and the nice feature about this style of a feeder, and all of our feeders have this raised food port, so there's separation between where the food port is and where the nectar line is. All of our feeders are that way. All of the plastics are polycarbonate plastics, very, very durable to UV rays as well as to impact breakages, so they're much stronger than most. But you'll notice, I'll just see if you can see on the nectar port itself, there is these little nipples here. So we have, that's a protectant, so that if there's any movement with this style of a feeder, for instance, in the wind, let's say, or any of that kind of thing, or an expansion because of heat, none of the nectar is going to end up on the top and track the undesirables. If you have a feeder that's giving you a little bit of grief in that department, we also have the ability then that we have these Nectar Guards that just slip over that little nectar port that's on the food port, and the hummingbird then has to penetrate through this and into the nectar. They use their tongue to drink anyway, right? So this is going to eliminate all the problem with ants, earwigs, hornets, and those kinds of things. So we have very multitude of different styles, from hanging to window suction cup ones. We can use this hanger, all kinds of different hummingbird feeders for that. We also have a handheld hummingbird feeder. This has been very, very popular. Lots of people really love this handheld one. You just hold it in your hand, be in an area where the hummingbirds are. So if you have flowers and you're in your garden or wherever, you get that in your hand with nectar in it, and just be patient, be still, and the hummingbirds are going to find you. It's a fun thing, great for kids. If you get them to stand still long enough, of course. And then the next thing I really wanted to talk about was the fact that the hummingbirds are so territorial about their food. So once you see all kinds of fighting and hummingbirds smacking at one another all the time, you got to remember that one feeder can only support so many birds. So if that starts to happen, you got to put another feeder over the other side of the garden, or over the other side of your deck, or wherever, and that will enhance the amount of birds that you have in the area, and then another male will protect that other feeder, and they won't be fighting at this feeder. One of the features that we have that really works well is this. They call it a hummingbird swing. I like personally to call it a perch. So if this were your hummingbird feeder, for instance, you would hang this up somewhere off to the side, and the male is going to perch on this to protect his food source. It just makes the whole visual thing so much greater, because you're actually seeing the male perch here. Then the fun part about it, all the other birds will come along and say, hey, there's a nice place to sit, and they use it also. And the other really big thing that we're really passionate about with the hummingbirds, as with all of our seed product, you've heard me say it before, but the hummingbird nectar itself, everybody has always just used sugar. The thing that they're bringing forward with that is that sugar is an empty calorie. There's no food value. It's processed. There's chemicals. There's preservatives and all that kind of stuff. We know it's no good for us, and so it's being suggested that it's not any good for the birds either. So what we have is a plant-based sweetener. It's a Canadian product. It's in a granular form. You mix that with 1 bag of this to 4 cups of water, and that'll give the hummingbirds a food value product. It's no preservatives, no chemicals. It works very, very well. We've had great success with it. And I found myself, I've done a little bit of experiment, I found myself that it doesn't seem to sour as quickly as sugar does. So it lasts a little bit longer, particularly if you have your hummingbird feeder in a partially shaded area. Anyway, just wanted to talk hummingbirds today. They're here. It's Mother's Day. We have tons of stuff in the store. Mom always likes a hummingbird feeder or some other things, and we'd be happy to help you out, and we hope to see you soon. Have yourself a great day. Thank you so much.